The morning started like any other Tuesday on Earth. People went to work, children went to school, and nobody expected that their world was about to change forever. Commander Kyle Morrison sat in his office at the Orbital Defense Station, drinking his coffee and reviewing routine reports. He had been in space for 3 months now, watching over Earth as part of the planet's new defense program. Then the alarm started screaming. A massive ship appeared out of nowhere, right above Earth. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built, stretching nearly 5 miles long. The ship was dark gray, covered in strange symbols that glowed with a purple light. Weapons bristled from every surface, and Kyle counted at least 100 gun ports before he stopped trying. "Sir, we're picking up an energy signature," his radar operator Lisa Grant said. Her voice was steady, but Kyle could see her hands shaking. "They're charging weapons." Kyle hit the emergency button, sending alerts to every military base on Earth. Within seconds, generals and presidents around the world were watching the same terrifying image on their screens. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and it was pointing guns at them. "Try to communicate," Kyle ordered. "Send a message of peace, maybe they'll talk to us." Lisa worked quickly, broadcasting welcome messages in every language Earth knew. She sent mathematical equations, music, and images of Earth's people living in peace. For a moment, the alien ship did nothing. Kyle allowed himself to hope. Then, the aliens fired. The beam of purple energy shot past Earth and hit the moon base. In an instant, 3,000 people were gone. The base that had taken 10 years to build was now nothing but dust floating in space. Kyle watched in horror as the place where his friend Jack Turner worked simply ceased to exist. No, wait. Jack wasn't on the moon. He was commanding the other orbital platform today. Small relief in a terrible moment. The alien ship sent a message. The words appeared on every screen, translated into every Earth language. "We are the Zorvath Empire. You have 1 hour to surrender your planet. Resistance will result in the destruction of your species." Kyle looked at his crew, 20 men and women, all trained for this possibility but never really believing it would happen. Earth had only been in space for 50 years. They had barely colonized the moon and Mars. How could they fight an empire that traveled between stars? "Sir," Weapons Officer Carl Jackson said, "we have 12 nuclear missiles ready to launch. The Chinese station has 15, the Russians have 20. It's not much against that thing, but..." Kyle nodded. Earth's defenses were built to stop asteroids or fight small conflicts between nations. Nobody had really planned for an alien invasion, but they had to try something. President Karen Mitchell's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "All stations, this is Earth Command. We cannot accept their terms. If we surrender, we don't know what they'll do to us. We have to fight. May God help us all." The hour passed quickly. Earth's leaders tried everything. They sent more messages of peace. They offered trade, knowledge, friendship. The Zorvath ship remained silent, its weapons growing brighter as they charged to full power. With 5 minutes left, Kyle made a decision. "Carl, target their weapon ports with everything we have. If we're going to die, we're going to hurt them first." Across Earth's orbit, hidden weapons platforms came online. Humanity had kept some secrets even from itself. For 20 years, the major nations had been quietly building defenses. Not many. Not enough, but more than the aliens might expect. The hour ended. The Zorvath fired again, this time at Earth itself. The beam headed straight for New York City, where 20 million people waited to die. But Earth fired first. 117 nuclear missiles launched at once. Railguns that had been disguised as communication satellites opened fire, sending metal rods at incredible speeds. Laser weapons, still experimental, burned bright lines across space. Every weapon humanity had built shot at the same time. The Zorvath ship's shields flared to life, a bubble of purple energy surrounding the vessel. The first missiles hit and exploded harmlessly against the barrier. Then the second wave hit. And the third. The shields began to flicker. Kyle watched as one railgun shot, fired from Jack Turner's platform, punched through the weakening shield and struck the ship's hull. A small explosion bloomed on the alien vessel's surface. Then another, hit. And another. The beam heading for New York suddenly cut off. The Zorvath ship listed to one side, black smoke pouring from several holes in its hull. For the first time in 17 conquests, the Empire's mighty dreadnought had been wounded. "They're retreating," Lisa shouted. "They're opening a hyperspace portal." Indeed, a swirling vortex of light appeared behind the alien ship. But before they left, the Zorvath commander sent one more message. This time, Kyle saw him on screen, a creature with 4 arms, scales like a lizard, and 6 eyes that burned with rage. "I am Krexaval, Supreme Commander of the Zorvath Empire," the alien said. "You have surprised us humans. Your primitive weapons have actually damaged our ship. This insult will not be forgotten. We will return with our full fleet. We will burn your cities, enslave your people, and turn your planet into dust. You have shown you have teeth, but teeth will not save you from what comes next." The transmission ended. The Zorvath ship vanished into the portal, leaving behind pieces of its hull floating in space. Earth had survived its first alien attack. Kyle slumped in his chair, exhausted. Around him, his crew began to cheer, but he couldn't join them. They had won this battle, yes, but Krexval's words echoed in his mind. The full fleet would come. How many ships? 10? 50? 100? General Amy Rodriguez appeared on his screen. She was already in the underground command center, surrounded by military advisors. "Commander Morrison, excellent work, but we all heard their threat. We need to prepare. I want every piece of debris from that ship collected and studied. We need to know how their technology works." Kyle nodded. "Yes, General. But will we have enough time?" "We'll make time," Rodriguez said firmly. "Humanity has faced extinction before. Ice ages, plagues, wars. We survived them all. We'll survive this too." As Kyle began organizing the debris collection, he thought about his daughter back on Earth. She was only 10 years old. What kind of world would she grow up in now? One thing was certain. It would never be the same peaceful Earth he had known. Dr. Paul Bennett, watching from his laboratory in Houston, was already analyzing the sensor data from the battle. The alien shields had failed when hit by multiple types of weapons at once. Their technology was advanced, but not perfect. If humans could understand it, maybe they could beat it. All across Earth, the same realization was sinking in. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. They had enemies. Among the stars, enemies who would return. The peaceful exploration of space that everyone had dreamed of was over before it really began. But something else had happened too. For the first time in human history, every nation had fought together. Old enemies had stood side by side. Earth had united against a common threat. As night fell across the planet, people looked up at the stars with new eyes. Those points of light were no longer beautiful mysteries to explore. Now they might hide dangers, threats, enemies waiting to attack. But humans had always been good at adapting to danger. They had always found ways to survive. The Zorvath had expected to find an easy target, a weak species to conquer and enslave. Instead, they had awakened something in humanity. The will to fight, to protect their home, to stand together against any threat. Earth had one message for the universe. We are here. We will defend ourselves. And we will not go quietly into the night. 6 months had passed since the Zorvath attack. Earth looked different now. The cities still stood. People still went to work. But everything had changed. Factories that once made cars now produced weapons. Scientists who studied medicine now worked on alien technology. The entire planet had become one giant military base. General Amy Rodriguez stood in the Strategic Command Center, built deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was massive, filled with hundreds of people working at computer stations. Giant screens covered the walls, showing everything from weapon production numbers to spacecraft designs. This was the heart of Earth's defense. "Report," Rodriguez said to her aide, a young major named Sam Cooper. "Production is up 15% this week," Cooper replied. "The Chinese factories have doubled their output of railgun ammunition." The European Union has completed 3 more orbital platforms. Russia has successfully tested their new plasma weapon. Rodriguez nodded. It was good progress, but would it be enough? Nobody knew when the Zorvath would return. It could be tomorrow, it could be next year. Earth had to be ready. In a laboratory in Boston, Dr. Paul Bennett was having the breakthrough that would change everything. For 6 months, he had been studying the debris from the Zorvath ship. The alien technology was incredibly advanced, but Bennett had found something interesting. "Look at this," he told his assistant, Emma Davis. He pointed to a strange device they had recovered about the size of a basketball. "This is their communication system. It uses quantum entanglement to send messages instantly across any distance." Emma leaned closer. "That's impossible. Quantum entanglement can't carry information." "The Zorvath thought so too," Bennett said with a grin. "But watch this." He connected a human brain scanner to the device. The machine immediately lit up with activity. Human brains have a unique electrical pattern, something about how our neurons fire. The Zorvath technology thinks it's impossible, but we can actually use this better than they can. Within days, Bennett's discovery had changed everything. By connecting a human pilot to a modified Zorvath communicator, they could control multiple drone fighters at once. The pilot's thoughts would instantly reach all their drones, no matter how far away they were. One human could fight like an entire squadron. Emma Davis volunteered to be the first test pilot. They connected her to 3 drone fighters in Earth orbit. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, Emma learned to split her thinking. Part of her mind controlled one drone, part controlled another. Within an hour, she was flying all 3, in perfect formation. "It's amazing," Emma said after the test. "I can feel all 3 ships. It's like having 3 bodies at once. I know where each one is, what each one sees. The Zorvath have no idea humans can do this." The military immediately started the Neural Link program. Thousands of pilots began training in secret facilities around the world. Each pilot learned to control more and more drones. The best could handle 20 at once, becoming a 1-person fleet. Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, humanity's biggest secret was taking shape. Engineer Carl Jackson led the construction of Project Phoenix. Hidden among the asteroids, massive shipyards worked day and night. They were building a fleet, but not just any fleet. "These ships are different," Jackson explained to his team. "They have Zorvath shields mixed with human weapons. But the real innovation is the AI system. Each ship can learn and adapt during battle. If one ship finds a weakness in enemy shields, all ships instantly know about it." The ships were also beautiful in their own way. Where Zorvath vessels were dark and threatening, human ships were sleek and bright. They painted them white with blue stripes, Earth's colors. Each ship carried the flags of all Earth's nations, showing unity. The construction was dangerous work. Zero gravity, extreme cold, and constant risk of discovery. The workers knew that if the Zorvath had spy probes watching Earth, they had to keep the fleet hidden. They used the asteroids themselves as camouflage, hollowing them out and building ships inside. Back on Earth, society had transformed completely. Schools taught alien technology alongside mathematics. Children learned to identify Zorvath writing. Military service became mandatory for all adults, not to fight, but to support the defense effort somehow. Even artists contributed, designing propaganda posters that said things like "Earth stands together and we are ready." President Karen Mitchell addressed the world every week, keeping morale high. "We don't know when they'll return," she said in one broadcast. "But when they do, they'll find a different Earth. Not the scattered, weak planet they attacked, but a united, prepared world ready to defend our home." Private companies also joined the effort. Tech billionaire Pete Anderson converted his entire corporation to military production. "Making phones was fun," he said, "but saving Earth is better." His factories produced quantum computers that helped coordinate Earth's defenses. Dr. Eric Stone, a computer expert from California, worked on another secret project. Using captured Zorvath computer systems, he was creating a virus, not to destroy their ships, but to confuse them. The virus would make Zorvath computers see things that weren't there. extra Earth ships, weapons firing from empty space, false retreat signals. The Zorvath are arrogant, Stone explained. They trust their technology completely. They won't expect electronic warfare. When their computers start lying to them, they won't know what to believe. The training programs were intense. Captain Jake Foster, one of the new squadron leaders, pushed his pilots hard. The Zorvath have been conquering planets for thousands of years, he told them. They expect everyone to fight the same way. But humans don't follow rules. We adapt, we improvise, we do the unexpected. That's our advantage. Foster's squadron practiced unusual tactics, flying in seemingly random patterns that were actually carefully coordinated, pretending to retreat, then attacking from behind, using Earth's moon as cover for surprise attacks. Every drill taught them to think differently. Nina Williams, another squadron commander, focused on teamwork. The Zorvath fight as individuals, she said, each ship for itself. But humans are pack hunters. We fight together, die together if we have to. When they come back, they'll face not just ships, but a family defending its home. Earth also prepared for the worst. Underground bunkers were built in every major city. Food and water for years were stored. If Earth's defenses failed, humanity would survive underground and keep fighting. The Zorvath would never have an easy victory. Scientists worked on backup plans too. Dr. Laura King developed biological weapons designed specifically for Zorvath physiology. Based on the video of Commander Krexval, they knew the aliens were reptilian. Certain bacteria harmless to humans could be deadly to them. I hate that we have to think this way, King said. But if they try to invade Earth directly, we need every advantage. Beth Young, a cyber warfare specialist, set up a galaxy-wide listening post. Using modified Zorvath communication technology, Earth could now hear messages from across the galaxy. Most of it they couldn't understand, but they learned important things. The Zorvath had enemies. Other species hated them too. Earth wasn't alone in this fight, even if they were fighting alone right now. The preparations weren't just military. Philosophers and historians studied everything Earth knew about war and survival. They looked for patterns, strategies that worked against superior enemies. The story of ancient Greece defeating the Persian Empire became required reading. Small forces defeating larger ones through cleverness and determination. That was Earth's inspiration. As the 6-month mark passed, Danny Chen looked up at the stars from his fighter cockpit. He was part of the new Neural Link program, able to control 15 drones at once. The Zorvath had awakened something in humanity, something that had been sleeping since humans stopped being prey animals millions of years ago. The survival instinct was back, stronger than ever. Mixed with human creativity, cooperation, and stubborn refusal to give up, Earth was transforming from a peaceful planet into a fortress. Every human was part of the defense now. Children collected scrap metal for recycling into weapons. Elderly people worked in factories. Nobody was left out. The Zorvath had made one crucial mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare and a reason to unite. When they returned, they would find not the same scared planet they had attacked, but a world transformed by purpose. Earth was ready for war. The deep space sensors detected them first. 50 Zorvath warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, near Neptune. Each ship was massive, though none as large as the original dreadnought. They moved in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming power. Admiral Krexval stood on the bridge of his command ship, his 6 eyes focused on the blue planet in the distance. Pitiful humans, he said to his officers. They think their lucky hit means they can fight the Empire. Today, we teach the galaxy what happens to those who resist the Zorvath. But Earth was ready. Captain Jake Foster sat in his hidden base on Neptune's moon Triton. Around him, 200 pilots were connected to their neural link systems, each controlling multiple drone fighters. Foster himself was linked to 20 drones hidden among the ice and rocks of Neptune's rings. Remember your training, Foster said over the comm. They expect us to defend Earth directly. We're going to surprise them. Wait for my signal. As the Zorvath fleet passed Neptune, Foster sent a simple message back to Earth Command. Welcome party is ready to greet our guests. Krexval was studying Earth's defenses on his scanner when his weapons officer suddenly shouted, Admiral, contacts emerging from Neptune's rings, hundreds of them. Before Krexval could respond, Foster gave the order. All units engage. What looked like asteroids throughout Neptune's orbit suddenly revealed themselves as camouflaged weapons platforms and fighter drones. 2,000 human drones controlled by just 200 pilots swarmed toward the Zorvath fleet. The aliens fired their energy beams, destroying dozens of drones instantly. But for every drone destroyed, 3 more seemed to take its place. The human fighters moved in impossible patterns, no 2 flying the same way, yet somehow perfectly coordinated. Nina Williams, controlling her squadron from a base on Mars, watched the battle through her drone's sensors. Her mind split 20 ways. She saw the battlefield from 20 angles at once. She noticed something important. The Zorvath ships couldn't track targets moving in truly random patterns. All pilots, implement chaos protocol, Williams ordered. Make no pattern they can predict. The human drones began flying in ways that seemed insane. Loop-de-loops, sudden stops, flying backwards while shooting forwards. No computer could predict their next move because even the pilots didn't know until they did it. The Zorvath targeting computers, designed to track logical flight patterns, couldn't keep up. Krexval watched in frustration as his fleet's hit rate dropped to less than 10%. How are they doing this? He demanded. Their movements make no sense. Sir, his science officer replied. I'm detecting quantum entanglement signatures. Somehow they're controlling these drones remotely, but that's impossible. No biological mind can split its consciousness that way. But human minds could, and did. 3 days into the battle, Earth revealed its second surprise. Dr. Eric Stone's virus, hidden in a fake distress signal, uploaded itself into the Zorvath fleet's communication network. Suddenly, Zorvath ships started seeing Earth vessels that weren't there. Their scanners showed retreating humans who were actually advancing. Warning signals blared about hull breaches that didn't exist. Admiral, the human fleet is retreating, one Zorvath captain reported. No, they're attacking from the left, another shouted. I'm reading 500 more ships coming from Earth, a third added. Krexval realized what was happening. They're in our computers. Switch to manual controls. Use only visual targeting. But it was too late. The virus had spread through the entire fleet. Some ships fired on empty space. Others nearly collided trying to avoid imaginary asteroids. The perfect Zorvath formation dissolved into chaos. That's when Earth played its third card. From the asteroid belt, Project Phoenix revealed itself. 500 human ships built with hybrid technology emerged from their hiding spots. These weren't remote drones. These were fully crewed vessels, each one carrying humanity's best and brightest. Admiral Sam Cooper commanded the lead ship, the ESS Victory. All ships engage at will. Show them what happens when you wake a sleeping giant. The Phoenix fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Each ship learned from every engagement, instantly sharing tactical data. When one ship found that Zorvath shields were weaker against combined plasma and kinetic attacks, every human ship immediately knew and adjusted their weapons. The Phoenix ships also did something the Zorvath thought impossible. They repaired themselves during battle. Using swarms of tiny repair drones and advanced nanotechnology, the ships could seal hull breaches and rebuild weapons while still fighting. A Zorvath captain watched in horror as a human ship he had just damaged simply grew new armor plating over the wound. Kyle Morrison, now commanding his own Phoenix ship, led a strike against the Zorvath command vessel. His ship, the ESS Defiance, had been specially modified with experimental weapons. As they approached Krexval's ship, Morrison gave the order. Fire the graviton beam. The weapon, developed from Zorvath technology but improved by human innovation, created a localized gravitational field around the enemy ship. Suddenly, Krexval's vessel was being pulled in 3 different directions at once. The hull began to buckle and crack. Impossible, Krexval shouted. We invented graviton weapons, they can't have improved them. But humans had always been good at taking ideas and making them better. On Earth, General Rodriguez coordinated the defense with calm precision. Launch Orbital Strike Pattern 7. All cities. Activate shield grids. Show them Fortress Earth. Every major city on Earth raised energy shields. Technology reverse-engineered from Zorvath debris and powered by fusion reactors. Orbital platforms. Launched waves of missiles, each one guided by AI systems that learned from every miss and adjusted for the next shot. The battle raged across the entire solar system. Near Mars, Beth Young's Cyber Warfare Division took control of 3 Zorvath ships, turning their weapons against their own fleet. At Jupiter, Carl Jackson's engineering team activated hidden weapons platforms built into the planet's moons. Emma Davis, one of the first Neuralink pilots, performed a maneuver that would become legendary. Controlling 25 drones simultaneously, she threaded them through a Zorvath ship's shield grid at the exact moment it flickered to recharge. All 25 drones detonated inside the shield, destroying the ship from within. "How did you do that?" her commander asked. "I didn't think about it," Emma replied. "I just felt the right moment and acted." That was humanity's greatest advantage. Intuition. The Zorvath fought by calculation and logic. Humans fought by instinct and feeling, something no computer could predict or counter. On the 4th day, the tide had clearly turned. Half the Zorvath fleet was destroyed or disabled. Earth had lost many drones and several Phoenix ships, but far fewer than anyone had expected. The impossible was happening. Earth was winning. Krexval made a desperate decision. All remaining ships converge on Earth. If we're going to die, we'll take their planet with us. The 23 surviving Zorvath ships formed up and accelerated toward Earth. But humanity had one more surprise waiting. Activate the Luna Protocol, General Rodriguez ordered. Earth's moon, which had seemed defenseless since the base was destroyed, suddenly came alive. The entire surface was covered in hidden weapons, buried under lunar dust for 6 months. Mass drivers, each one capable of launching asteroids at near light speed. Plasma cannons that drew power from solar collectors covering the moon's far side. Nuclear mines that could be launched like missiles. The moon became a fortress, standing between the Zorvath and Earth. Captain Danny Chen led the final defense. His consciousness stretched across 30 drones. As the Zorvath fleet approached, he felt something beyond training or technology. He felt the spirit of every human who had ever fought to protect their home. From ancient warriors with spears to modern soldiers with guns, the human will to survive flowed through him. "For Earth," Chen shouted, and 2,000 voices echoed his cry. The final engagement lasted just 6 hours. Caught between the Luna, Fortress and the pursuing Phoenix fleet, surrounded by swarms of neural-linked drones, their computers compromised, and their shields failing, the Zorvath fleet was torn apart. Admiral Krexval's ship was the last one fighting. As his bridge exploded around him, he sent one final message to his empire. "The humans. They're not like the others. They don't fight with logic or honor. They fight with chaos and cunning. They adapt faster than we can respond. Avoid this species. They're too dangerous." His ship exploded, ending the second battle for Earth. As the debris of the Zorvath fleet drifted through space, a cheer went up across Earth. They had done the impossible. They had defeated an empire that had conquered 17 civilizations. But in the command center, General Rodriguez wasn't celebrating yet. Collect every piece of Zorvath technology. Study their star charts. Learn about their empire. "Why?" President Mitchell asked. "We won. They won't come back after this defeat." Rodriguez looked at the star charts they had recovered from Zorvath computers. Dozens of conquered worlds, billions of enslaved beings. "No, Madam President, we're not done. They attacked us unprovoked. They've done this to other species. It's time someone stopped them permanently." The general turned to her staff. "Prepare the fleet for a hyperspace jump. We're taking the fight to them." President Karen Mitchell stood before the United Nations Assembly, though now it was called the United Earth Council. Representatives from every nation sat in absolute silence as she spoke words that would have been unthinkable just 1 year ago. "We are no longer just defending," Mitchell announced. "The Zorvath Empire has terrorized the galaxy for too long. They've enslaved 17 species, destroyed countless worlds. Today, humanity says enough. We're going to their homeworld. We're going to end this threat forever. The decision hadn't been easy. Many argued Earth should be satisfied with its victory, build better defenses, and hope the Zorvath stayed away. But the captured Zorvath databases told a different story. The Empire wouldn't stop. They would build bigger fleets, develop new weapons, and return again and again until Earth fell. Admiral Sam Cooper stood on the bridge of the ESS Victory, now the flagship of humanity's assault fleet. 800 ships in total, the surviving Phoenix fleet plus 300 new vessels built in the past month using captured Zorvath technology. It was everything Earth could spare while still maintaining home defenses. All ships report ready for hyperspace jump, her navigation officer reported. Cooper took a deep breath. Humanity was about to travel further from home than any human ever had. Execute jump. Next stop, Zorvath Prime. The journey through hyperspace took 3 weeks. During that time, the fleet didn't rest. They ran combat drills, studied Zorvath tactics, and most importantly, their ships continued to evolve. The AI systems analyzed every piece of data from the Earth battle, developing new strategies and weapons configurations. Dr. Paul Bennett, aboard the science vessel ESS Discovery, made another breakthrough. Admiral, we've cracked their shield frequency rotation. We can predict their shield patterns up to 30 seconds in advance. 30 seconds is a lifetime in battle, Cooper replied. Excellent work, Doctor. Meanwhile, Colonel Beth Young's cyber warfare team had been busy. Using the Zorvath communication codes they'd captured, they had been spreading false information throughout the Empire's network for weeks. We've convinced half their fleet that Earth's invasion force is heading for their mining colonies in the opposite direction, Young reported. Their ships are scattered across 3 star systems chasing ghosts. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zorvath system. Before them lay Zorvath Prime, a world 3 times the size of Earth, covered in massive cities that gleamed with purple energy. Orbital defense platforms surrounded the planet, and hundreds of ships patrolled the space between. But humanity had learned from the Zorvath's own tactics. They didn't announce themselves or demand surrender. They simply attacked. Captain Danny Chen led the first wave. His squadron of neural link pilots controlled 1,000 drones that swarmed toward the orbital platforms. The Zorvath, who had never been attacked at their homeworld in 10,000 years, responded slowly. Their defenses were designed to intimidate, not to fight a real battle. The platforms fell one by one. Chen's drones danced between energy beams, striking at weak points with surgical precision. When the Zorvath adapted to one pattern, the humans switched to another. When they strengthened shields in one area, humans attacked another. Kyle Morrison commanded the heavy assault group. His ships carried humanity's most powerful weapons: graviton beams, antimatter torpedoes, and something new: quantum disruptors that could shut down Zorvath technology at the molecular level. Target their communication arrays first, Morrison ordered. Blind them, then destroy them. The battle for Zorvath Prime's outer defenses took 12 hours. The Empire, which had spent millennia conquering weaker species, discovered what it meant to fight someone who fought back with equal technology and greater creativity. Then came the real shock for the Zorvath. Earth's fleet started broadcasting, on all frequencies but not to the Zorvath military. They broadcast to the 17 enslaved species on the planet below. This is Admiral Cooper of Earth. We're here to destroy the Zorvath military, not you. Stay in your homes. Freedom is coming. Laura King had spent weeks studying the biology of each enslaved species. Her team had created targeted viruses that would weaken Zorvath soldiers without harming any other species. Missiles carrying these biological weapons rained down on military bases across the planet. Within hours, Zorvath soldiers were falling ill, too weak to fight. Their slaves, seeing their masters weakened, began to rebel. 17 species that had been crushed for centuries suddenly found hope. The Zorvath Supreme Council met in emergency session. Supreme Leader Vrextan, older and supposedly wiser than Krexval had been, couldn't believe what was happening. How can one young species Do this, Rexton demanded. We have conquered the galaxy. They don't fight like anyone else, General Corval reported. They use our own technology against us, but modified in ways we never imagined. They attack military targets but spare civilians. They're turning our slaves against us. They're not trying to conquer, they're trying to liberate. That was humanity's strategy. Earth didn't want an empire. They wanted to remove a threat and free the galaxy from tyranny. Jake Foster led the ground assault. Wearing powered armor developed from Zorvath designs but improved with human engineering, his Marines dropped onto the planet's surface. They didn't attack cities or civilian areas. They targeted military installations, government buildings, and slave camps. Remember, Foster told his troops, we're liberators, not conquerors. Every slave we free is one more ally against the Zorvath. The sight of humans fighting to free other species inspired something the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia: hope. On Zorvath Prime and across the Empire, enslaved species began to rise up. They had always outnumbered their masters, but fear had kept them in line. Now, seeing the Zorvath military crumbling, they found courage. Emma Davis led a special mission to the Zorvath's main data center. While the battle raged across the planet, her team infiltrated the facility that contained the Empire's entire history, technology, and administrative records. Download everything, Davis ordered. Military codes, ship designs, the location of every Zorvath colony, but most importantly, get the freedom codes. The freedom codes were the digital keys that controlled the neural implants forced on every slave. With these codes, humanity could free billions with the push of a button. The Zorvath fought desperately. They recalled every ship they could, but Beth Young's false information had sent most of them too far away to return in time. The few that did arrive found themselves facing an Earth fleet that had learned their every weakness. Nina Williams demonstrated humanity's new mastery of space combat. When 30 Zorvath reinforcement ships arrived, she led her squadron in a maneuver that military historians would later call the Williams Weave. Her pilots, each controlling 20 drones, created a three-dimensional web of crossfire that no ship could escape. The entire Zorvath reinforcement fleet was destroyed in less than an hour. But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their ships or soldiers. It was their message. Earth's fleet broadcast continuously to every world in the Empire. We are humans from Earth. We came in peace, and you attacked us. We offered friendship, and you brought war. Now we bring justice. We fight not for conquest but for freedom. Join us and be free. Resist and face only your military's destruction. We war against oppression, not against life. After 18 hours of combat, Zorvath Prime's defenses were shattered. Their fleet was destroyed, their military was sick and defeated. Their slaves were in open rebellion. Supreme Leader Vrexton did something no Zorvath leader had ever done. He requested terms for surrender. Admiral Cooper met with Vrexton via hologram. The Zorvath leader, proud even in defeat, tried to negotiate. We will leave Earth alone. We will grant you 10 star systems. We will pay tribute. No, Cooper said simply. Your empire ends today. You will free every slave. You will destroy every weapon. You will return every conquered world to its original inhabitants. The Zorvath will keep only your original homeworld, and you will never again leave your system without permission from the Galactic Council. Galactic Council? Vrexton asked. There is no such thing. There is now, Cooper replied. Earth is establishing it. Every free species gets a voice. Every world gets protection. And if you refuse these terms, we will broadcast the freedom codes and let 17 species decide your fate. Vrexton looked at his ruined cities, his defeated forces, his rebelling slaves. He had no choice. We accept your terms. The surrender of the Zorvath Empire took place on the 18th hour of the battle. In less than a day, humanity had done what no species had accomplished in 10,000 years. They had broken the Empire, but Earth's forces didn't celebrate with conquest. They immediately began humanitarian operations. Human medics treated wounded, of all species. Engineers helped rebuild damaged infrastructure. Teachers began removing Zorvath propaganda and teaching the truth. Carl Jackson led the technical team that broadcast the freedom codes. Across the galaxy, billions of neural implants deactivated. Slaves who had been controlled for generations suddenly found their minds free. The joy and chaos were indescribable. Some Zorvath military units refused to surrender. They were dealt with quickly and efficiently. But most Zorvath civilians, who had never known, the galaxy would never be the same. News of the Zorvath Empire's defeat spread faster than light itself, carried by quantum communications to every inhabited world. Within days, 17 different species sent diplomatic ships to Earth, all carrying the same basic message. Thank you, and can we join you? Ambassador Lisa Grant, who had once tried to make peace with the Zorvath during their first attack, now found herself as humanity's chief diplomat to the galaxy. She stood in the newly built Galactic Council chambers on Luna, Earth's moon, which had been chosen as neutral ground for all species to meet. We never wanted to be conquerors, Grant addressed the assembled representatives. Earth offers partnership, not rule. Every species will have an equal voice in this council. Together, we're stronger than any empire. The Caloran, insect-like, beings who had been enslaved for 3,000 years were the first to formally join. Their representative, a creature with crystalline wings, spoke through a translator. Humans freed us when they had no obligation to do so. We pledge our loyalty not to Earth but to the ideals Earth represents: freedom, justice, and unity. Dr. Paul Bennett, whose quantum entanglement discovery had helped win the war, now worked on peaceful applications. He developed a galactic communication network that allowed instant conversation between worlds light years apart. For the first time in galactic history, species could talk to each other without delay, building friendships across the vast darkness of space. This is bigger than winning a war, Bennett told his team. We're connecting civilizations that have been isolated for millennia. We're building a true galactic community. The transformation wasn't without challenges. Some Zorvath refused to accept defeat, forming pirate groups that attacked shipping lanes. Captain Kyle Morrison, promoted to admiral, led the new Galactic Defense Force in hunting them down. We gave them a chance for peace, Morrison said after destroying a Zorvath pirate base. Those who choose violence will face the consequences. But most Zorvath, especially the younger generation who had never known anything but empire, adapted surprisingly well. Many were genuinely curious about the humans who had defeated them. Cultural exchange programs began, carefully supervised but genuine in their intent. Emma Davis, the first Neuralink pilot, now taught the technology to other species. The Etherians, a race of telepathic beings, were particularly skilled at it. Working together, human and Etherian pilots could control entire fleets of drones with unprecedented precision. It's amazing, Davis said, watching an Etherian student control 50 drones at once. Every species brings something unique. The Etherians have natural telepathy. The Calorans can see in spectrums we can't imagine. The Verdani can calculate faster than our computers. Together, we're unstoppable. 5 years passed. Earth had changed from a single planet struggling to defend itself to the unofficial capital of the Galactic Council. Human technology, mixed with the best of 17 other species, advanced at an incredible rate. Ships could now travel between galaxies, not just star systems. Medical technology from the Verdani, combined with human adaptability, eliminated most diseases. Captain Jake Foster, now retired from military service, ran an exploration program. Human and alien crews worked together, mapping unexplored regions of space. On one mission, they encountered a new threat: the Devourers, a species that consumed entire planets for resources. Alert the Council, Foster ordered when they first encountered a Devourer harvester ship. We have a situation. The Devourers were different from the Zorvath. They weren't conquerors but locusts, stripping worlds bare and moving on. They had no interest in communication or negotiation. They simply consumed. Admiral Sam Cooper led the combined fleet against the Devourers. This time humanity wasn't fighting alone. Ships from 12 species joined the battle, each contributing their unique strengths. The Calorans' living ships could regenerate damage, the Etherians provided perfect coordination, the Zorvath, now allies, contributed their advanced shields. The war with the Devourers lasted 6 months. It was brutal and costly, but it also solidified the Galactic Council. Species that had been enemies for millennia fought side by side. When the Devourers were finally driven back to the empty space between galaxies, the Council had become more than an alliance. It had become a family. "We did something remarkable," President Mitchell, now Secretary General of the Galactic Council, said at the victory celebration. "We took species that hated and feared each other and united them against common threats. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy, not our weapons or technology, but our ability to bring others together." The reformed Zorvath proved particularly interesting. Without the burden of maintaining an empire, they focused on science and art. Young Zorvath and human scientists worked together, making breakthroughs neither could have achieved alone. The old Supreme Leader's palace on Zorvath Prime was converted into a university where all species could learn together. Dr. Eric Stone, whose computer virus had helped defeat the Zorvath, now ran the Galactic Cybersecurity Center. "Every species has different ways of thinking," he explained. "That means every species can create different kinds of computer attacks. But it also means together, we can defend against anything." 10 years after first contact, a ceremony was held on Earth. Representatives from every member species of the Galactic Council gathered to sign the Universal Peace Accord. The document, written in 37 languages, established basic rights for all sentient beings and rules for interstellar conduct. Former Zorvath General Korval, who had once fought against humanity, now served as a council military advisor. "I spent my life conquering," he said at the ceremony. "The humans taught me something better, protecting. I found more honor in 5 years of keeping peace than in 1,000 years of making war." Laura King's biological research had evolved from weapons to medicine. Working with Verdani healers and Caloran bioengineers, she developed treatments that could work on any carbon-based life form. Diseases that had plagued species for millennia were cured in months. "This is what science should be," King said, watching a young Zorvath child play with a human child in a park on Luna. Not creating ways to hurt each other, but ways to heal. But perhaps the most remarkable change was in Earth itself. Once divided by nations, religions, and ideologies, humanity had united completely. The threat of extinction had done what centuries of diplomacy couldn't. It had made humans see themselves as one species. Beth Young, now Earth's Director of Education, oversaw schools where human children learned alongside young aliens. "They're growing up without the prejudices we had," she said. "To them, having a Caloran or Etherian friend is as normal as having a friend from another country used to be for us." The galaxy still held dangers: pirates, rogue AI systems, natural disasters on a cosmic scale. But now no one faced these threats alone. The Galactic Defense Force, with ships and crews from every member species, patrolled the space lanes. The Raute Council's disaster response teams could reach any world within hours. Carl Jackson, the engineer who had built humanity's first fleet, now designed cities that floated in space. These massive stations served as meeting places for all species, neutral ground where anyone could live and work together. "We're not just defending anymore," Jackson said, looking at his latest design. "We're building, creating a future where every species can thrive." The transformation of the Zorvath continued to amaze everyone. Given the chance for redemption, most embraced it. Zorvath artists created beautiful works depicting their journey from conquerors to protectors. Zorvath engineers working with humans developed terraforming technology that could make dead worlds livable. Nina Williams, who had led fighter squadrons in the war, now commanded a mixed-species exploration vessel. Her crew included humans, Zorvath, Calorans, Etherians, and 6 other species. "We've gone from trying to kill each other to trusting each other with our lives," she said. "If that's not progress, I don't know what is." 20 years after first contact, Danny Chen stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the massive space city that served as the Galactic Council's capital. Below him, Earth turned slowly, blue and green and beautiful. Around him, beings from 57 species, the council had grown, went about their daily lives. A young Zorvath approached. Him. She had been born after the Empire fell, had never known the old ways. "Admiral Chen," she said, "my teacher told me you fought in the First War. What was it like?" Chen thought for a moment. "Terrifying," he said honestly. "We thought we were alone in the universe, then suddenly we were fighting for our survival. But you know what? I'm glad it happened." The young Zorvath looked surprised. "Glad for war?" "No," Chen replied. "Glad for what came after. Your people attacking us woke humanity up. It united us, pushed us to the stars, made us better than we were. And now look. Humans and Zorvath working together, exploring the universe side by side. Sometimes the worst events lead to the best outcomes." As if to prove his point, an announcement echoed through the station. A new species had been discovered in a distant galaxy, and they were asking to join the Galactic Council. The exploration ship that found them was crewed equally by humans and Zorvath, former enemies now working as one.